All right, this video is going to be going over Lab 4. In Lab 4, we're going to be implementing some code to manipulate a set. A set is a collection of elements where every element is unique from all other elements. So in a list, you can have a list that maybe looks like 10, 10, 2, but a set would not look like that. It would just have 10 and 2 because you can't have repeating elements in a set. Because of that, a set can be represented as an array of Booleans where every index in the array represents one value that may or may not be in the set, and the actual value is either true or false depending on if that element is in the set or not. So you're given code that already kind of implements this. You're going to be working with a set of characters. So those are the uppercase characters A to Z. So your set size is only going to be 26 long. But as I said, you've already been given code to manipulate the sets and do things like check if the element exists or put an element into a set. What we're going to be working on today is more of the operations that you can perform on a set. So for example, the complement of a set or the union of two sets. And that's what one of the PDFs is. So this lab comes with 4 documents. 2 of them are Java code snippets. And the other 2 are, one of them is the lab PDF and the other one is a more guidelines or outlining those different set operations that I just mentioned, things like union and complements and intersection and that kind of thing. That gives, I mean, you guys should be familiar with those already, but that will that PDF gives a really comprehensive look on what those operations are, as well as some visuals, and it should be helpful. So the first one we're going to do, as always, we're going to create a new project. This is going to be Lab 4. Go ahead and finish that. Something different that we're going to do this time, though, is we're going to be creating a package. So to do that, we're going to right-click Lab 4, and we're going to say New Package, and we're going to name it Set. And then we click Finish, we get this new package here. So now, instead of right-clicking Source and putting my classes here, I'm actually going to right-click Set, and then put my classes here. So I'm going to make 2 classes. Again, these are the Java code that we were already given. One of them is going to be char set. Finish that, and I'm just going to copy paste the code in. You can, as always, of course, try to import these yourself, but I think it's just easier just to copy paste them. Next, one more class, and this was going to be test char set. As the name might imply, the whole point of this class is to test out some of the methods that are in char set, as well as we're going to be implementing those set operations in here, as what I mentioned earlier. You'll notice that the first thing that happens when you paste this in is you get an error right at the top. That's just because here you can read the error does not match the expected package set. So that's because the file isn't in the package set, even though we put the file here. If we go over to char set, doesn't have that error. We see it has this package set at the top, so we can just copy paste that over, save it, and we see that error goes away. Now, if we go ahead and run this, this is the output. This is what the output looks like. We have all these kind of test cases or the beginnings of the test cases, but there's no actual output to these test cases. Your goal is to get the output to look similar to what's in the PDF. So this was in the PDF. We see that here the test cases right at the bottom here. We see that it's first it's getting the set information from the user. We see that there's a little bit of input validation here. So we see when I enter an exclamation point, it says it's an invalid letter. As soon as we hit quit right here, we see it moves on to set 2. So the user is able to enter characters from set 1, hit quit, enter the characters from set 2, hit quit, and then it runs all these tests. As I just mentioned, your job is to implement all these tests. So if I look at test char set and just kind of scroll through it, we see I have a bunch of comments where these test cases should be. Your job is to just fill them out, and they're pretty straightforward. You shouldn't have too hard of a time going through it, but they can get a bit confusing, and that's mostly why we have that other PDF to give more of a graphical example of these operations, as well as every operation comes with an example. So, for example, the subtraction, we see we have ABC minus CDE is equal to AB, and we see we got rid of that C right there because C was common, and we got rid of the C from A. We can also take a look and see that every one of these functions is going to be returning a new character set. So the kind of flow of each one of these programs is going to be you make this new character set, which is already done for you in all of these, and then you're going to iterate through the characters one at a time and perform some operation on them. So let's say I was doing union. If we look at the PDF, if we look at one of the PDFs, it has a nice graphic for union. It's equivalent to the OR operation. So if an element is in set A or B, it's going to be in set C. So, you know, we're considering the output set as set C. So we have an OR operation there. And again, like we're iterating through each character, we can say if it's in set 1, oops, right up here, set 1, or it's in set 2, then we would add it to this subtraction set, or I guess we would be looking at the union set up here. So we add it to the set C. And that code, the logic for adding to the set and removing and checking is already done for you. So two of the main functions that you're going to be using are, we have check char, which is going to return whether, well, you can read it right there. It's going to return whether a character is in the set or not. And then we also have add char, which is going to put a character into the set if it's not already in the set. So those are going to be the main two things you're using. And after that, you're going to have basically the same structure for each one of these test cases, but the logic that's inside that structure is going to change slightly. And of course, you have to do user input and validation. And that's actually it. You've already got the print statements set up right here. So you're going to need to add some stuff here for that user input, but the test cases are already done for you. All right, that's it. Best of luck with it.